Hey guys, how are you doing? Today in this video we are going to talk about sickle cell disease SCD or simply sickle cell anemia, and also we are going to talk about National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Program 2023 by Government of India. Okay, so here we go. सबसे पहले हम बात करेंगे what is sickle cell disease or simply what is sickle cell anemia. Let's revise basic thing. Okay, what is anemia? अगर हम सबसे पहले बात करते हैं अनीमिया की, तो सबको पता है अनीमिया सिंपली मींस इट हैज टू डू विद हीमोग्लोबिन, राइट? हीमोग्लोबिन इज अ प्रोटीन, हीमोग्लोबिन, लेट मी राइट इट अगेन. Hemoglobin is transportation protein which is found in RBC, and the job of this protein is what? The job of this protein is to transport gases. Basically it helps in gases transportation basically. तो आपके दिमाग में सीधा सीधा बेसिक साइंस का क्वेश्चन होगा कि हमें ऑक्सीजन की जरूरत क्यों है? एग्जैक्टली व्हाई डू वी नीड ऑक्सीजन? We need oxygen so that we can get energy from glucose. Okay, so glucose react with oxygen and it gives rise, energy and simultaneously CO2 which should be eliminated from the body. तो अगर हीमोग्लोबिन कम होगा then there will be low amount of oxygen which is going towards the tissues or cells, and therefore less production of energy, and eventually there will be fatigue, there will be other problems, malfunctioning of tissues, so on and so forth. बट सिकल सेल अनीमिया क्या है? अगर हम नॉर्मली बात करें, सिंपल अनीमिया की बात करें, अनीमिया को टेक्निकली इस तरह से भी डिफाइन कर सकते हैं, लो अमाउंट ऑफ हीमोग्लोबिन और लो अमाउंट ऑफ आरबीसी और बोथ. ऑलराइट, सो यू कैन आस्क वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन, एग्जैक्टली कितना हीमोग्लोबिन होना चाहिए? तो अगर मेल और फीमेल की हम बात करें तो रफली स्पीकिंग फॉर the amount of hemoglobin for female it should be around 12 to 15 grams per deciliter, right, of blood. For male this amount should be 13 to 18 grams per deciliter. अगर किसी के blood में if amount of hemoglobin in a person's blood is less than 13 for male and less than 12 gram per deciliter for female, then he or she is said to be anemic, right? Or otherwise number of RBC. For example, number of RBC count should be around 45 lakhs to 55 lakhs per deciliter, है ना? Per mm cube, right? 55 lakhs, and otherwise microliter of the blood. Or otherwise you can also use another term for this RBC, normal RBC. तो normal RBC count कितना होना चाहिए? Normal RBC count होना चाहिए 4.5 million to 5.5 million per mm cube of blood volume, right? So this is the basic amount. So if a person's blood has less number of hemoglobin or less number of RBC, then he or she is said to be anemic, right? What is sickle cell anemia, by the way? Sickle cell anemia is different, right? It is very different game altogether. This is a genetic disease. First of all, what happens? This is a genetic disorder that causes red blood cells to become rigid and sickle shaped. Sickle shape का मतलब होता है जो ये घास काटने वाला होता है, grass, cutting device, this is sickle cell. A crescent shape also, it is sometimes called crescent shape also, which can block blood flows and lead to health complications. सबसे पहले तो ये क्या है? एक तो नॉर्मल अनीमिया नहीं है, this is a genetic disorder, right? This is genetic disorder. Alright, whereas healthy individuals have disc-shaped RBC, those with this kind of disorder, sickle cell disease, have red blood cells that take crescent or sickle shape. Okay, तो अगर आप ये डायग्राम में देख पा रहे होंगे तो let me show you this. This is the normal shape, biconcave shape. Okay, these blood cells RBC, they are devoid of nucleus, mitochondria, etc. They don't have nucleus, so we call they are unnucleated. They don't have mitochondria also, so they produce energy with the process of anaerobic respiration, right? Normal shape is this, and if this takes like this shape, sickle shape, this shape, then it is called sickle cell anemia. अगर आप NCERT देखते हो, suppose if you go through NCERT books, तो NCERT sickle cell anemia को technically क्या बोलती है? This is an autonomous linked recessive trait that can transmit it from parents to the offspring when both the partners are carrier for the gene, right? And the chances are what? 50% or otherwise 40% chances. So in terms of NCERT, heterozygous individuals appear apparently unaffected, but they are carrier of the disease as there are 50% probability of transmission of the mutant gene to the progeny, right? तो इतना टेक्निकल अभी जानने की हमें जरूरत नहीं है for civil services examination. So what we are interested in actually, what are the symptoms, right? So if someone is sickle cell anemic, so what are the symptoms basically? First of all, जो सबसे serious problem है, it shorten, what it does, it shorten life by at least 25 years, by at least 25 years. तो ये एक बहुत 20 years और 25 years और sometimes even 40 years, up to 40 years. तो अगर किसी, if a person can live up to 70 years for example, then he or she will only live up to 40 years, or maybe अगर थोड़ा सा medical intervention हो तो 25 years. This is one serious problem. Another thing, it has slow processing, what, or it is slowly progressing to organ failure, है ना? So slow progressing to other organ failure. For example, जैसे इसमें heart failure भी हो सकता है. For example, heart failure, kidney failure, and eventually brain failure also. So this is the problem with kidney failure, है ना? And even eventually it can leads to brain failure. So this is another serious aspect of this disease. This is common in old people. Sometimes it is also characterized by acute chest syndrome. Acute chest syndrome. तो अगर आप लोगों ने वर्ड सुना हो सिंड्रोम इज सिंपली कलेक्शन ऑफ सिम्टम्स. ओके, सो व्हाट इज दिस? कलेक्शन ऑफ सिम्टम्स, द मीनिंग ऑफ सिम्टम्स. ऑलराइट, सो बेसिकली इट इज लंग इंजरी. तो यू कैन आल्सो से इट इज अ लंग इंजरी. दिस इज वन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ दिस प्रॉब्लम, राइट? Anemia is basically restriction of RBC and therefore blockage of blood vessels. So it also leads to blockage of, this whole problem leads to basically blockage of blood vessels. और एक बार अगर blood vessels क्या हो गई, blockage हो गई, तो it will leads to what? Severe pain and finally organ failure, which I was discussing, right? Severe pain, there is mechanism of pain in our body which tells you something bad is happening. It is an alarming system and it will eventually leads to organ failure. और organ failure का मतलब है it will leads to death simply, right? Other problems, these guys who are SCD, who are sickle cell anemic, they are prone to other diseases also. They are prone to, for example, they are prone to pneumonia, right? They are prone to pneumonia. I think everybody must be knowing about pneumonia. Pneumonia is acute disease in which alveoli are basically, they have pus-filled alveoli, है ना? Pus-filled alveoli in lungs. Okay, this is pneumonia. This is the problem because there is some kind of infection going on in lungs and this infection will leads to collection of WBC, and after WBC is treating the infection, it will release pus, and these pus-filled alveoli cause serious breath problem, breath taking में दिक्कत होगी, सांस लेने में दिक्कत होगी, which is called pneumonia, right? Then there is another problem which is meningitis. Meningitis has to do with meninges in the brain. So if you have this structure brain, if you remember, okay, brain is like walnut, जैसे अखरोट होता है ऐसे ही है लगभग, है ना? इस टाइप के स्ट्रक्चर है. And this is cerebral cortex और cerebral cortex जो cerebrum है, तो we will talk about it later on, sometimes later. इसके बाहर 3 लेयर्स होती हैं ऐसे टफ टिश्यूज की. सबसे बाहर वाली लेयर्स को बोलते हैं ड्यूरा मैटर. देन ये सबसे अंदर वाली मैंने बनाई, इसको कहते हैं पिया मैटर. देन देयर आफ्टर समथिंग इज कॉल्ड अरेक्नॉइड, है ना? This one, and finally one tough tissue, the outermost covering, which is called, this tough tissue is called basically dura mater, and these are called meninges. And if there is inflammation or there is infection in meninges, it is called meningitis. It can be caused by virus, bacteria, fungus, and sometimes SCD people who are sickle cell anemic, they have this problem, meningitis. Okay, there are influenza problem also, so they are influenza. So eventually SCD is not a single disease. Sometimes we only know it is anemia. It's not anemia alone. It can cause, and people are vulnerable to pneumonia, meningitis, influenza, organ failure, so on and so forth. Okay. So now let's talk something else. तो गवर्नमेंट इसको कैसे डील करने वाली है? लेट्स टॉक अबाउट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. देयर इज वन प्रोग्राम गोइंग ऑन, द नेशनल सिकल सेल अनीमिया एलिमिनेशन मिशन, और प्रोग्राम 2023 में गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने लॉन्च किया था अंडर प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी, राइट? ओके. और इसमें क्या है कि जो इस पे जो टारगेट है, तो इसका टारगेट क्या है? एलिमिनेशन. तो इसका टारगेट क्या है, एलिमिनेशन ऑफ SCA और SCD बाय 2047, 2047 तक इसको क्या करना है, खत्म करना है एज पब्लिक हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम, है ना। तो एलिमिनेशन फ्रॉम इंडिया एज पब्लिक हेल्थ क्राइसिस या public public health problem, right? This is the idea behind this, this program, national NSCAEM or NSCAEP, program, right? So there are currently around 50 lakh people in India are affected. They are affected by SCD. Most importantly, there are 21 states in India which are highly prone to SCD, and mostly, the belt, the tribal belts. It is for non-tribal people also. So SCD is not, majority of the patients are concentrated in tribal belts, but non-tribal people are also, affected by this disease. They are basically in Eastern India. For example, Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. But there are 21 states which are, which have these people, right? So, तो इस मिशन का दूसरा क्या काम है, तो मिलियंस ऑफ पीपल अफेक्टेड सिकल सेल डिजीज, ओके, वर्ल्ड का जो है सेकंड लार्जेस्ट बर्डन है। इसका जो नेक्स्ट है थर्ड एस्पेक्ट ऑफ दिस प्रॉब्लम, लेट मी शो यू दिस वन। तो दिस इज फर्स्ट एस्पेक्ट, तो क्विकली लेट मी टेल यू, okay, this is first aspect of the problem. Second aspect of the problem, third aspect of the problem is, the mission is large scale screening, large scale screening program, okay, large scale screening program. And 18%, approximately, let me tell you one data, 18%, approximately 18%. So under this mission, approximately 18% of SCD affected people are receiving treatment, are receiving treatment. तो एक तो ये है इसमें, है ना, okay. So let's discuss about challenges. What are the challenges finally, जो challenges है, challenges क्या है, challenges with this sickle cell disease is, people lack of, only 18%, for example. This is one challenge, everybody is not getting screened out, everybody is not getting screened out for sickle cell disease, this is first problem, right? Second problem is what, patients drop out at all stages of treatment. This is first problem. Second, patients, patients drop out at all stages of treatment, screening through diagnosis, through treatment, program, right? So this is another problem. All right, so okay, there is one other aspect of this problem, social stigma. Okay, let's talk about social stigma. अगर हम social stigma की बात करें तो generally, what, they are genetically, those people who are SCD affected, sickle cell anemic people, they are genetically, they have one stigma, social stigma. They are called as genetically inferior people, right? They're genetically inferior बोला जाता है उन्हें, and they are sometimes ostracized, है, उनका होका पानी बंद कर देते हैं, तो हम इसको क्या कहते हैं, they are ostracized in their society, ostracized. जो उनकी शादी वादी के जो प्रोस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं वो भी कम हो जाते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल, तो diminished, they have diminished marital, diminished marital and social prospects. Social prospects भी उनके क्या हो जाते हैं, खत्म हो जाते हैं. It is sometimes called God's curse, भगवान का अभिशाप इसको माना जाता है. Sometimes people call it black magic, in tribal population it is sometimes called black magic or sometimes called God curse. All right. So what is the way forward? So quickly we are going to talk about what is the way forward apart from this national sickle cell anemia mission, way forward. What is the way forward? So let's discuss what is the way forward. देखो इसकी एक दवाई आती है जिसको क्या बोलते हैं, हाइड्रोक्सीयूरिया, है ना. तो let me tell you, so there is one medicine, so let me write it. The medicine is called hydroxyurea, एंड दिस इज नॉट वेरी कॉस्टली। एंड इसको क्या कर दिया गया है, हाइड्रोक्सी यूरिया को एक तो इनएक्सपेंसिव है एंड इसकी सप्लाई को इट इज मेड बेसिकली एसेंशियल मेडिसिन लिस्ट में इसको रखा गया है, एसेंशियल मेडिसिन लिस्ट में रखा गया है ना। इट इज इन एसेंशियल मेडिसिन लिस्ट, ओके, दिस मेडिसिन है ना, इट इज यूज्ड टू ट्रीट एससीडी बाय द वे, राइट। बाय द वे इसके लिए इट इज इनएक्सपेंसिव, यू नो, दिस मेडिसिन इज इनएक्सपेंसिव। नाउ द प्रॉब्लम इज, यू नो, कन्वीनियंट सप्लाई। तो चैलेंजेस, यू नो, तो चैलेंजेस क्या है, बेसिकली कन्वीनियंट सप्लाई के लिए इस पर बात की जा रही है ताकि आसानी से ये हर जगह अवेलेबल हो जाए, राइट। ongoing research on gene therapy is another, you know, ongoing research on gene therapy, this is also going on, ongoing research on gene therapy, right. So however it will be unaffordable, unfortunately this gene, you know, gene research will be, you know, gene therapy will be unaffordable, it will be not affordable for all public। तो ये इसके साथ एक सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है, अनअफोर्डेबल है ना, इट इज नॉट अफोर्डेबल टू एवरीवन, राइट, देयर इज वन प्रॉब्लम। व्हाट एल्स कैन बी डन, वे फॉरवर्ड क्या है, स्टिग्मा को हटाना, टू इरेडिकेट स्टिग्मा अराउंड दिस, इरेडिकेट social stigma around this disease SCD, you know, this is another sort of, you know, solution। finally screening, you know, screening, so in case missed or diagnosis, you know, so screening could be increased to, for example, if people miss diagnosis, you know, people miss screening or diagnosis, what we can do, diagnosis, न्यूबॉर्न्स को डायग्नोज कर सकते हैं, ठीक है, तो न्यूबॉर्न कैन बी डायग्नोज्ड, है ना, न्यूबॉर्न कैन बी डायग्नोज्ड, न्यूबॉर्न कैन बी डायग्नोज्ड। तो एक ये वाली, एक इसमें क्या किया जा सकता है, प्रॉब्लम किया सकता है ना। और उसके अलावा फाइनली, नॉट लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, वी कैन ड्रॉ एक्सपीरियंस फ्रॉम HIV एड्स, यू नो, HIV एड्स के लिए जो गवर्नमेंट ने NAC को जो चलाया था, है ना, नेशनल एड्स कंट्रोल, यू नो, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो चलाती है एड्स, HIV एड्स एंड पोलियो इरेडिकेशन प्रोग्राम, तो एक्सपीरियंस कैन बी ड्रॉन फ्रॉम ऑल ऑफ दिस, ओके, तो दिस इज प्रोग्राम, ओके, ऑलराइट। तो एक बेसिक आइडिया था जिसके बारे में हमने बात की, तो लेट मी क्विकली रिवाइज व्हाट वी हैव टॉक्ड टुडे। तो टुडे इन दिस वीडियो वी टॉक्ड अबाउट, फॉर एग्जांपल, व्हाट इज SCD, व्हाट इज सिकल सेल एनीमिया, एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज एनीमिया फर्स्ट, क्यों हमको हीमोग्लोबिन की जरूरत पड़ती, हीमोग्लोबिन इज अ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्रोटीन व्हिच हेल्प्स इन गैसेस ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, राइट। So therefore if we don't have proper supply of oxygen we can get ill, right. Sickle cell anemia is something else, it is called anemia because it has to do with RBC, and RBC take sickle cell, it is a crescent cell, by the way, this is sickle cell disease। अगर आप हम NCERT से पढ़ते हो बेसिक तो आपको पता चलेगा, this is sickle cell anemia is a genetic problem and which can be transmitted from both the offspring or when carrying this gene, you know, this defective gene, right. Then we talked about symptoms. Symptoms are generally not ranging to anemia alone. They are ranging to organ failure, you know, from pneumonia, meningitis, influenza. There can be n number of, you know, diseases which can get, one can get if one is SCD, you know, or SCA, sickle cell anemic, right? तो उसमें क्या होता है, ब्लॉकेज ऑफ ब्लड वेसल्स होता है which leads to severe pain and alarming system in our body and finally at the end of the day organ failure, right? This is very serious and therefore it can shorten life by at least 25 years or up to 40 years, by the way, right? Okay. नेशनल सिकल सेल अनीमिया एलिमिनेशन मिशन, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी ने इसको 2023 में बोला था और कहा था कि इसको हम सिकल सेल डिजीज will be eliminated by 2047, you know, will be, in a sense, this is the target, right? The mission is to eliminate SCD by 2047 and for that there is large scale of screening going on. Hydroxyurea is one medicine for it, right? And there are, you know, screening program is going on, so and so forth under this mission. There are still challenges. For example, people are not getting screened out, right? They are dropping out at all stage of treatment and there is social stigma which is attached to this particular SCD। इसलिए लोग क्या करते हैं, स्क्रीनिंग पे नहीं जाते हैं, इसलिए लोग ड्रॉप आउट हो जाते हैं। एंड फॉर एग्जांपल पीपल आर सपोज्ड टू बी जेनेटिकली इंफीरियर, डिमिनिश्ड मैरिटल एंड सोशल प्रोस्पेक्ट्स, sometimes they are, it is supposed to be god's curse, black magic, so and so forth, right? तो फाइनली ये इसका एक्सपीरियंस था। वे फॉरवर्ड में क्या है, हाइड्रोक्सी यूरिया जो दवाई है, उसके अलावा रिसर्च चल रही है जो जीन थेरेपी पे, और उसके अलावा एक्सपीरियंस हाउ वी फाउट अगेंस्ट HIV AIDS and polio program, right? So thank you so very much. See you guys until next time. If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. फिर मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में. Thank you very much. Take care guys.